Welcome to the GSMC Fitness Podcast, the show that helps you sort through all of the trends, new and old, of the fitness world. We'll talk about yoga, running, Zumba, weightlifting, and everything in between. Whether you've got your fitness routine down to a science or you're just starting out and looking for direction, you'll find educational and entertaining information on the GSMC Fitness Podcast. Welcome to the GSMC Fitness Podcast. I'm your host, Alexandra. Today we're going to be talking about eating before you work out, a little myth about sweating, and how discipline in your life affects your fitness. So let's talk eating before workouts. Should you eat or not? Which one is more beneficial? Well, the short answer is it's personal preference. Honestly, anything you see about one being healthier than the other, you see better results than the other, all that's nonsense. It's personal preference. It's how your body responds, how you feel in your workout, when you eat, when you don't eat. It's all up to you. However, there are some things that you should keep in mind when making this decision. Obviously, I encourage experimentation, but when you think about fasting, technically when you fast before you work out, the body's ability to burn fat and carbs goes up. However, there's not enough evidence to show that there's no research to show that we lose more body fat if we fast versus not. So despite the fact that it does encourage the body's ability to burn fat, do our results really differ all that much? Maybe you personally might notice a difference, but for the studies that have been done, there's not really a big difference. There's really no clear research on the performance level either of shorter workouts. Now, when we talk about shorter workouts, there's actually some improvement with carb or supplement meals before you work out. So that's something that's actually interesting. Now, this is specific to shorter workouts. Carbs obviously are important for energy. A lot of people cut out carbs, but some people, I feel like, make the mistake of cutting out too many. They're still important. You still need energy. Obviously, you want to cut them down to a certain extent if you're trying to get rid of a certain fat ratio. Totally understandable, but you still need to consider the fact that you need a certain amount of carbs to work out, and that can be helpful with your workout. And if it's shorter, it has shown to help. Now, a little bit more than half of studies say that there's actually better performance if you eat some kind of food before a workout that's going to be over an hour. And that food has to consist of mostly carbs. Makes sense. If you're working out longer, you need more energy. This, honestly, anecdotally, in my case, works. With any workout that's longer, if I eat before the workout, it's going to be something real small. What I used to do, I want to start doing it again actually, but what I used to do is I'd eat some oatmeal for breakfast, but not a full bowl, just a little bit, because you get full off of oatmeal pretty quickly. And, I'd put in maybe peanut butter some days or a little chocolate or honey, some kind of give it some taste, and I'd eat it with usually a banana, sometimes apple. So some kind of fruit I'd put in there. And that would be my breakfast most mornings. And it was not a full bowl. I can't emphasize that enough. For me, it was pretty small, but I wasn't hungry. I was fine with it. And then I would continue getting ready, get dressed, stretch, and then I would go on my workouts. In this case, I would end up going on my bike rides, which were a little less than 2 hours, a little more than 2 hours if you include my break in between, but I would swim in the break. So I guess that's still moving. Anyway, it was over an hour is my point, and I really needed that. I tried not eating once and going on the bike ride because I was meeting a friend and I was running late. It was real bad. We had to stop and I got a snack, and I felt much better after that because I was not doing well. I mean, it was cardio. I really needed the energy. With cardio in particular, it's really important to get that food. At least for me, it feels that way. I have done strength workouts where it's not really the case. I'll wake up, I don't eat breakfast, and I'll work out. Now, if I eat too much, particularly too much meat, I feel sick if I work out after that. And by too much, I mean like a regular meal, like after lunch, after dinner. I cannot work out immediately after, and that's normal. You want to wait roughly 2 to 3 hours if you have a full meal, and then you can work out, and you should be fine. Now, what I mentioned before, if I don't eat breakfast and then do a strength workout, that's fine if I feel like I have energy that morning. So it's not always the case. Sometimes I'll wake up and pretty quickly my stomach's like, you need to eat right now, girl. There's discomfort, food needs to be in there. And either I'll eat something small or I'll eat a normal breakfast and decide to work out later. So it depends. But I was never a huge breakfast person anyway. I have to wait before I eat, and then I don't even eat a lot. Unless I really waited a long time to eat my breakfast and it turns into brunch or a proper lunch. Sometimes I accidentally do intermittent fasting. Do you accidentally ever do that? I feel like some people do just because wake up late, they're in a hurry, going to work. Anyway, so ultimately, it's your choice whether you want to fast or eat before a workout. Just be careful of how much you're eating so you don't feel sick. And make sure you get enough carbs to give you some energy. But obviously, don't get too full. Stick to whatever diet you're trying to stick to. And have fun with it. Experiment with it. See what works for you. I know plenty of people who prefer to fast. I don't particularly have a preference. It's just whatever I do that day. I have not seen a big difference in myself depending on which one I do. I just have to be careful and make sure I have energy to have a really full, lengthy workout like I like. And make sure I'm not getting nauseous. Those are my two concerns that I pay attention to more than anything else. Let's stop there and take a break. When we come back, let's talk about low impact cardio and does it actually burn any fat at all?
Do you want to be healthier, yet you just don't know what to do? All these shows telling you this and that, but nothing seems to work. Well, listen close. Golden State Media Concepts has got something great for you. The Health and Wellness Podcast dedicated to workout trends, healthy eating habits, diet, and everything about healthy living. Join us in our banters as we help you not just live life to the fullest, but live it to the healthiest.
Welcome back. Earlier we talked about fasting before versus eating before a workout. Now, let's talk about cardio, specifically low impact cardio. Does low impact cardio burn fat? I mean, that's a valid question. Obviously, especially now, high intensity is super popular because it shows great results and it's a time saver. And that's wonderful. But what if you're newer, you want to start slow, or you're just not into high intensity? You enjoy the more casual types of working out. Honestly, nothing's wrong with that. If you want the short answer, then yes, low impact cardio does burn fat. The process is just a little bit different, of course. We've talked before briefly about how the intensity of your workout affects how much fat you burn, but it also has to do with time. So with low impact, you're going to want a longer workout. That's why high intensity, it's concentrated and it's short. If you want to burn a similar amount of fat with low impact, I'd suggest going a bit longer. For example, you don't want to go for a walk, but you're only going to go for 5 minutes, and it's not even like a proper walk. You're going to stop and stretch every once in a while, and you don't want to dawdle. You don't want to stop and smell the flowers. That's not what you're here for. You can enjoy yourself, but that doesn't mean waddling along and just not moving really. What you want to do, because this is still a proper workout, it is still impact even if it is a low impact. You have to do something. So, some options, you could do fast-paced walking. If you ever decide to go for a walk, just keep in mind there's a difference between a walk and a stroll. If you're going to go for a stroll, go for a stroll. That's fine. That's still healthy. But if you're going to go for a walk, go for a walk. Walk at a decent pace. You don't need to jog. You don't need to run. But go quickly, and that will help. That will help your metabolism, get your heart rate a little bit higher. You will still get benefits, and it will help your body to burn some fat. Another good idea is walking uphill. Obviously, these are all things you can do on a treadmill. You can set the settings to however you want. But if you want to be outside, walking uphill is great. If you live in a hilly area or you're near a hilly area, might be a good idea to go over there and take a walk in that area. Again, don't make it a big deal and dawdle up the hill. You don't want to climb up the hill and just shoot up there and run, but you don't want to be dramatic and get exhausted going up the hill, or not get exhausted, I should say. Get a little tired, be not out of breath, but breathe a little bit harder when you get to the top of the hill. Make it a bit of a challenge, just a little bit. Another one we've mentioned before that is a great option is swimming. Any kind of swimming. It's low impact cardio. It's wonderful. Definitely look into that. The idea is that you just have to get your heart rate up. That's all it is. It doesn't have to be super intense, but get your heart pumping, get that blood moving, get work done. Start working and moving your muscles. Give your body a little bit of a challenge. That's the idea. Impact is basically equivalent to challenge. So you need a challenge. Whether it's low or high, challenges are always good, right? You learn, you improve from them. They are always helpful. That's what you have to keep in mind. Now, depending on the kind of workout, you could do 10 minutes minimum, but with low impact, I don't think 10 minutes is a great idea. It really depends what you're doing. 30 to 60 minutes is ideal. That's probably the best option. I honestly would say 60, but if you don't have time for that, no big deal. 30 minutes. Just get it in. Try to make it as lengthy as possible. And you don't even have to do it every day. 3 days a week, if that's what you can fit. Just make sure you're not stationary on the days that you're not doing this, especially because it's low impact. You want to keep moving on the days that you're not doing these low impact workouts. Another option is you can alternate between low impact and high intensity. That's also a great option. A lot of people use. Low impact can be considered a rest day for people who like to do high intensity. But if you simply want to get your body used to it and just do different things, that's awesome. That's wonderful. Do 3 days of low intensity or low impact and 3 days or even 2 days of high intensity. I think that's a great way to plan your week and have 1 to 2 rest days. I would say no more than 2 rest days. But yeah, alternating is a great idea. Eventually, if you want to start with low impact, you may later be craving something a little more intense. That's the other beauty of starting with low impact, is once you get into it, you start enjoying it and you get excited and you can feel yourself getting stronger. You want more of a challenge because you feel like this isn't enough anymore. It's nice, it's fun, it's okay, but I'm great at it now. What can I do to make it more? And that's when high intensity comes in. I'm not saying you have to make the switch immediately, but you can make your cardio a little bit more impactful. You can do a few more things, whether it's making it longer, whether doing a different activity, whether adding something to make this activity a little bit more intense. You could include light jogs in between your walking. That's definitely a great option. So the question now becomes, do I even incorporate it into my routine? Yeah. I mean, ultimately it's up to you, but I think it's a wonderful option because it absolutely does burn fat. And it's a great place to start. All right, let's take another break. When we come back, we're gonna talk about a little myth about sweating.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
Welcome back. Earlier we talked about how low impact cardio actually does burn fat. And now let's talk about sweating. So there's this idea that if you sweat a lot, you have a better workout. Please don't buy it. That is absolutely not true. I can personally attest to that because I don't sweat a lot, but I see progress. So sweat has nothing to do with that whatsoever. I promise sweat does not equate to calories burned. That absolutely makes no sense at all. It's not true. When I have a hard workout, I don't really sweat that much, to be honest. I could be working out for, let me put it this way. If it's cold, if my hands and feet are cold and I start working out, it will take a while before my body warms up. So I need a little bit more to get that workup. That doesn't mean I'm not working hard, and don't talk to me about my circulation. It's fine. I understand why you would think that. My point is that people's bodies are different and react differently to workouts. I sweat from temperature more than I do from physical exertion, regardless of what I do. And regardless of that, I get results. Even if I'm not really sweating, I get results. And that's the important part. As long as you're getting results, you feel like you're struggling, there's a challenge there, you're getting your workout in, you're doing what you need to do. That's all that really matters. Now, the thing about heat is people have this idea that because sweat, it makes it seem like you're working out harder. It's great for workouts, so people include heat within their workout. But the only thing heat really does is it might help with flexibility because it helps your muscles relax. If your muscles are really cold, they're a little more tense. I mean, that's what a warm-up is. You're flexing them, moving them, stretching them, but you're also actually physically warming them up. And that helps to relax them. I mean, that's why we use heat for all kinds of things. For sore muscles, we use a combination of heat and ice to get the blood flow moving, but the heat itself is relaxing. That's why a shower or a warm bath is super relaxing. If anyone is on their period, a lot of people use heating pads to relax the muscles. So I understand the idea of heat being beneficial, but maybe just with something like yoga, it's more beneficial. I mean, hot yoga is a thing, right? I never thought about that till now. Actually, that makes a lot of sense. I guess hot yoga is to help with the flexibility, and maybe it makes it easier to do the moves. I don't know. I've never done it before, and I've never done yoga. So if you want to try something like that, like hot yoga or incorporating heat into your routine for whatever reason, you need to keep some things in mind. You can't just turn up the heat and start working out. You could pass out. Okay, you need to get your body acclimated to the temperature change. You don't want to shock your body. That is so bad. It's the same idea with warm-ups and cool-downs. You have to start slow, get used to the temperature. And the other thing is, if you're moving that extremely to a high temperature, you're going to force yourself to sweat a lot. Therefore, you are losing hydration. So please hydrate beforehand. Whether water, whether electrolytes, whatever it is your body needs, you need to make sure you hydrate well before you do any of these things and after. It's very important. If you're thirsty, if you feel thirsty, do not ignore it. If your mouth is dry, do not ignore it. If your skin feels dry because you're that dehydrated, do not ignore it. Don't just grab the lotion bottle. Drink some water, get some electrolytes in there if needed. Don't ignore it. The other thing to consider that I have mentioned is that people are different. I just explained to you that my body I don't really sweat unless from temperature. I mean, I do sweat. I'm not saying I don't sweat from exertion, but it's not a lot. I had a friend who would sweat like crazy, and I never noticed before because when we would go hiking together, it wasn't often, but when we had the chance, it was very humid where we were, and so we just both felt wet and gross. And we would go at a steady pace because at the time I was newer to hiking and I was not a fan and it was very difficult for me, but she loved it. So for her, it was easier and less sweat in that case. Also, again, the humidity, and I didn't really notice too much sweating. But one time I invited her to my dance class, and she came and she had tons of fun. But she was sweating like crazy. I've never seen her sweat that much before. And that's just because that's how her body is. And she was shocked that I didn't really sweat that much. And I know I'm picking on her because she's my friend, but most other people in the class sweat more than me. Not all of them, but a lot of them did sweat more than me. And that's just how it is. Some people are a little bit different in regards to their sweat. I sweat more in my armpits than anywhere else. I mean, that's just physiology. It's not anything to be concerned about, really. Just do your workout. Don't pay attention to sweat. Don't worry about it. Unless you need like gloves or headbands for safety. You know, may need some gloves so you don't slip on machinery. That can be dangerous. And you may need a headband so the sweat doesn't get in your eyes, or wristbands. Or if you need those things, or you need to take a towel, that's fine. Everyone does it, or most people do it. That's normal. But otherwise, it's not something to be concerned about. If you really feel like you have a concern, that's a concern for your doctor. They'll be able to help you out and tell you if there's anything really irregular and really something to worry about. And they'll be able to help you out, make sure you're getting enough hydration with your workouts, because if you're sweating more, you're losing more water. So definitely make sure you're getting the right hydration that you need if you really do sweat a lot. With that, let's take another break. We are going to come back and go more specific with the best clothes to help you with a workout.
The GSMC Life and Happiness podcast takes you on a journey of exploration. We'll discuss tried and true methods alongside the latest trends of how to best live your life to its fullest and happiest. From psychology to meditation, science to self-help books, the GSMC Life and Happiness podcast will help you to discover what makes you happy and how you can live life being the best you possible. Download the GSMC Life and Happiness podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, or anywhere you find podcasts. Just type GSMC in the search bar.
Welcome back. We are going to talk clothes. So what clothes help with a workout? I'm not talking fashion. Fashion's different. That's has to do with personal preference. What you think looks good, looks hot, looks cute, whatever it is you want to look when you work out. Totally up to you. Great motivator, by the way, if you're into that and want cute outfits. Definitely a good way to get motivated. But we're talking about functionality. What's the best option there? The easiest answer, I'd say probably, is breathable fabric. You definitely want something breathable. You want your skin to be comfortable. You want to be comfortable. The sweat, everything. It's just better if the fabric is breathable. Cotton is not a bad option. Don't just say no to cotton. It just depends on how much you anticipate sweating. Certain workouts may make you sweat more than others. Certain temperatures, obviously. Don't go to hot yoga in a t-shirt. Just what's best for you. If you're doing biking, for example, wearing a cotton t-shirt might be okay for that because with the wind, it will help dry out the sweat. You won't get it soaked. And I imagine you're doing it when the weather is sunny. So that'll help. Or maybe that would make you sweat more, but it would also help evaporate the sweat. So I guess it balances out. Anyway, otherwise, if you're not going to wear cotton, polyester, lycra, I don't know how to pronounce it. I've only ever seen it written. And spandex. All three of those, great options. Pretty much most, if not all, workout clothes has spandex in it anyway because, you know, it's all stretchy. It needs to be comfortable. And a lot of workout clothes is fitted, especially for women. So there's a lot of spandex in them. But almost all clothes nowadays, I feel like, have spandex. Depends. I mean, if it's something super fancy, maybe not. Anyway, next we want to talk about fit. Now, I'm not talking about how cute it is. If you like the style, that's different. What I'm talking about is if it's looser, you may be more comfortable. It depends on you, your preference, but it also depends on what workout you're doing. I do think fitted things can be extremely comfortable. Leggings, all of that, I do think they're actually very, very comfortable. They don't bother me at all. But loose clothes, obviously, great option. Definitely breathable. So comfy for sitting on the couch, not just working out, you know? If you like that comfort when you work out, just wear loose clothes. Don't worry about it. However, take into account what you're doing. You do not want to wear long, loose pants when you're biking. You are going to hurt yourself. Do not get anything caught in the gears, in the wheels. It's not good. So be careful on your choices with that. Now, underneath your clothes, the simple answer, supportive undergarments. You obviously want to have something supportive. For women, men, doesn't matter. It needs to be supportive just for comfort, for your comfort. You will feel better. Most people do, at least, when working out. And also politeness, especially if you're working out in public. If you're at home, I don't care what you wear, but especially at the gym, comfort and politeness, obviously. Then another thing you got to consider is the season. Now, when it's hot, it's definitely easier to pick out what to wear, but when it's cold, it can be difficult to gauge how much you need. So the safest option, just layer up. I know they say in general layer up when you go out in the cold, but for working out, I mean real thin, lots of layers. When you get there, you take off the big jacket. You start warming up. Okay, you take off the next layer. You start working out. Oh, it's more intense. You take off the next layer. Okay, you're really getting there. You're dying. You take off the final layer. You're in regular summer workout clothes. I heat up to that extent when I work out. So I need to wear that sleeveless or whatever underneath a jacket, especially indoors. If I'm outdoors, I'll still keep a light jacket on because you want to protect your chest, especially if you're going to sweat. You want to protect it from cold air. But indoors, definitely wear enough layers to be able to take them off and put them on as needed, especially if the room's cold, because when you rest, you're going to feel cold when you rest, when you stop to take your little breaks. So then there's the footwear. So footwear, you can get professional shoes that are catered to whatever you're doing. Those can be helpful and also pricey. So don't worry too much. Just go to a sports store, get a nice pair that's comfortable and supportive. That's important. And again, it just depends on what workout you're doing. For me, I only need footwear for if I'm going outside, like as in going for a walk or a jog or a bike ride. And those aren't my preferred ways to work out. My preferred ways are dancing, and the dance I do you can't really do it and wear shoes. It's not comfortable. So footwear is not a big one for me because I don't really need it to work out. My preferred choice of working out doesn't require it. So that's on you. Whatever you're doing, definitely look into it. Different shoes can be helpful depending on the sport that you're doing. If you're running, there's a lot of impact there, so definitely look into good shoes for those. If you're riding a bike, you want to make sure your shoes fit well. They're not loose. So take these things into consideration. And other accessories? Well, we mentioned sweatbands before. Oh, my favorite. Forgot about this one. My favorite accessory is a pouch belt. When I was riding my bike more, I hated that I had to put all my things in a little bag and attach it to my bike. It was so irritating because I would have to stop my bike and then park it and then like open the little zipper and make sure nothing falls out because it was like hanging. And then grab what I need and put everything back. Like, it was such a pain. But these belts, it's just like, if you've never heard of these or seen them, it's this fabric belt that you don't need to put through any loops. You just slide it on and it stays. It stays where you put it. It's pretty secure. And the inside is hollow. It's like a little bit wide and it's hollow and has, I guess it depends on the pocket, but the one I had has 2 slits in it. And what you can do is you put everything you need in there. You put your keys, you put your phone, if you don't have a stand for your phone, I guess, on your bike, you put your ID, money, whatever you need in that belt. It's secure. It's with you. You can put it over or under your clothes, however it's most secure and you feel more secure. It stays in place. Nothing falls out. One thing I will say, with heavier things like keys, push them deeper in. Don't leave them close to the opening. One time my keys fell out, but I was jogging, so it was a little bit bumpier than riding a bike because I left the keys too close to the little slit. So look into different kinds of pouches, but it's honestly my favorite thing, the most useful thing ever. You don't need to carry a little purse, a pouch, a little bag. You're hand-free. It's wonderful, and it'll fit a phone. Even if you have a bulky case, like, it'll fit your phone. You'll be fine. I'd suggest putting your phone to the back rather than the front. It might bother you in the front, especially if you're biking and your legs are kind of going up a bit. It's uncomfortable. Personal preference, just a suggestion. With that, let's take a break. When we come back, I'm going to talk about how discipline in other areas of your life could actually help you with your fitness.
Still on the search of that one true love? On the limbo in this crazy world of dating, marriage, relationships? Well, listen to the Golden State Media Concepts Relationship Podcast, your one-stop podcast for everything about relationships.
Welcome back. Earlier we talked about useful clothing items and my favorite one for working out. Definitely incorporate those to match your fashion sense too. There are lots of options, I promise. Now, how discipline in other areas of life can help your fitness. Sounds like a strange idea, right? But this is real. So let me explain, because I'm not just talking about mental fitness. I'm talking physical too. which may sound even more strange. Think of it this way. If you complete a task, any task, you finish doing something that needs to be done, you feel more relaxed. And with that relaxation comes motivation, particularly if it's something difficult, because you feel a sense of accomplishment. When you feel accomplished, you feel good. You feel, well, your body starts producing all the happy hormones, and you gain confidence in yourself, and bam, you're ready to get more done. I mean, it's as simple as that, really. You don't really need more explanation than that, but I'll go into it a little bit more. So, if you're unmotivated and don't work out, well, of course, you can make a simple plan. Just start out real easy. Work out 10 minutes 2 times a week. Nothing more than that. I know that's super easy. A lot of people will disagree with that and scold me. I don't care. Work out 10 minutes 2 times a week. Just commit to that. Then what I want you to do is get something small done before your workout. Before your workout, I want you to finish doing something. I want you to train yourself to finish a task. Now, don't pick something long and complicated and make that an excuse not to work out. Oh, I don't have 10 minutes anymore because traffic, because this, because that. No. Do something. Do a quick chore. Pick up some milk on the way home. Clean the living room. Take the laundry out of the washer. Put it in the dryer. Iron that button down. Whatever it is, get it done. And then go do your 10-minute workout. What makes you feel accomplished or proud? You need to think about these things. What makes you feel accomplished? What task do you do that when you finish it, you feel good? You feel proud of yourself. Like, I'm done and I did it. Yes. What brings you that feeling? And don't say working out would give me that feeling, but I'm not doing it. No, we're not talking about that. What's a hobby you have? If you're a musician, you get through a really hard riff or a really hard section or measure. You finally get it down pat in tempo. That's impressive, man. That's some accomplishment. That's some encouragement. That's some happy hormones right there. Get yourself to the gym, to your dumbbells, to your workout app immediately, right now, and go work out. Because you're on that happy high, that confident high, that I can do it high. Now, while you're on this high, don't do something too difficult for yourself, okay? Do what you planned. And if you can go a little bit longer, sure, push yourself if you really feel like you can, but I suggest sticking to the plan. And if you feel like the plan isn't enough anymore, enhance the plan. I just don't want you to burn out, so be careful. Don't burn out before you even started. Let me give you a clearer example for those of you that didn't understand my music jargon. I'm a writer, if you didn't know. I love novels. I love long stories, but they get exhausting. Writing a long story, even if it's not a novel, is taxing. There's a lot to think about. There's a lot of pieces to a story, and it's just so long. When is it gonna end? Oh my gosh, there's so much to do. It's a lot. It really is a lot. So I get burnt out and I don't want to write it anymore. But I need to keep writing. I want to get encouraged. So what do? I do something similar to encourage me in a smaller capacity. What do I mean? I write short stories without all the fancy words. I just mean I write short stories. I finish a story that could be as short as 500 words to 3,000 words. Yes, that's a short story. That may sound like a lot, but it's not. It's a short story. Anyway, my point is, I can finish those stories relatively quickly. And because of that, I feel a sense of accomplishment. Yes, this is something that I finished and I was writing and I actually did it. It's done. I feel great. I have that sense of accomplishment, and it's within the field that I'm having difficulty with. So it's inspiration towards that field. Now with working out, you don't necessarily need that accomplishment within the same thing. However, if what you accomplish is a little bit physical, that can be helpful because you're already moving a little bit and in that mood, and it acts as an unplanned warm-up. So that can be maybe a little bit more helpful, maybe better than writing a code for a program and then getting up from the computer and working out. I don't know, you may not feel motivated to get up and move even if you feel accomplished. So try to do something a little bit similar. You may not need to, but test it out. Try a few different things to get yourself motivated to do more. That's the thing. See, it's that sense of personal accomplishment. So do something that's challenging, that you enjoy doing, and that doesn't take too long. Once you finish that, you're good to go, man. You're ready to work out, to do something. If it helps, though you're probably already doing this, you're watching other people that work out all the time, aren't you? But you're not doing anything about it. This is a way to make it more personal to you. People are always like, oh, watching people is so inspirational. Well, if it's so inspirational, why aren't you doing anything with that inspiration that you apparently have? So force yourself to do something with that inspiration. And do something else. And then when you feel good about yourself, not good about and proud about what someone else is doing, feel good about yourself and use that to your advantage. Let's take another break. When we come back, we're going to talk about how lifestyle choices can affect your physical fitness. And you can use these actually maybe as some of your starting accomplishments before a workout.
Pets bring such joy to our lives, and the GSMC Pets podcast is here to share in that joy. We'll tell stories of pets finding their forever homes, acting in unexpected ways, being helpful, or just being silly. Whether you love dogs, cats, llamas, reptiles, fish, or you've never met an animal you didn't like, the GSMC Pets podcast is for you.
Welcome back. Earlier, we talked about how discipline in other areas of your life can actually help you with your fitness. Now, lifestyle choices can affect your physical fitness. You've probably heard that before, honestly. I think most people kind of know about this idea. If you don't know what I'm talking about, they're the obvious answers, right? Taking the stairs, not the elevator, park further away, and then walk to Walmart, eat out less often. All of these things are wonderful. Please do them. But they're the little more obvious ones. I'm not saying because they're obvious they're not good. You should still do them. However, there is the not so obvious. I want you to think more. How can you do more? How can you incorporate this into your life even more? Because what if you're like me and your life doesn't require too many stairs at this moment? You don't work in a tall building. You don't go to tall buildings often. The only stairs could be a porch or in the front of someone's house or, going from sidewalk to not sidewalk to sidewalk. Not really stairs. Or stairs in the house, but almost no one has an elevator in their house. Besides that, my point is, sometimes you can't always include these things into your life. Parking further away and walking is definitely an easy one. Should absolutely do that. And eating out less often, which includes ordering things. That doesn't mean, I just mean cook. You should cook homemade things. Don't order pizza. Don't order Chinese. Don't get, what are they called? Uber Eats? Is Grubhub one? Is that one of the ordering ones? I don't know. Don't order things, is my point. Cook. Okay, besides those, here's one. Walk. I don't mean go for a walk. I mean, you want to go to the grocery store? Okay, walk there. Do you need a lot of groceries? Take a suitcase. Not really a suitcase, but get your own kind of cart to carry the groceries. And go grocery shopping less or more often so you have less to carry. Need to go to work? I guess you could walk to work, but I don't think most people live close enough to walk. It depends. But that's the other thing. I really mean walk everywhere. Unless it is dark or you know it's going to be dark by the time you're done, then maybe don't walk. But walk everywhere. What do I mean by this? When I lived abroad, as I say often, I used to walk 30 to 45 minutes one way daily to get from my home to the city, to the hangout spot. That's what I used to do. And when I was done, and it was late even, if we stayed out late, if we stayed out having fun, I would walk back still 45 minutes. And I know what you're thinking, late, unsafe, not where I was. It was fine. That's another topic, has nothing to do with fitness. My point is, walk everywhere. I got used to daily 45-minute walks one way. And I'm talking one way. And I'm not talking I walked there, sat, walked back. I'm talking walked there, walked around the city, did other things, played pool, danced, sung, whatever it was I was doing that day, played games, sat and talked and rested, of course, but I got used to that movement, that lifestyle. That takes time to get used to. You will get exhausted if you start that off the bat, because that's what happened to me. So don't start that way right off the bat, because you might burn out. But start walking as many places as possible. If you go places that are really close, walk there. Give yourself a time. Give yourself 20 minutes. If something is 20 minutes or less away, walk there. If something is 30 minutes or less away, walk there. I say even 45 minutes if you want. Try to do that. I think it's a great option. Obviously, make sure your neighborhood's safe, it's daytime, blah, blah, blah. Safety precautions, keep those in mind, but try to walk as much as possible. Something that can help with this is taking public transportation. Because taking public transportation forces you to walk more anyway, because you have to walk to the stop. Then you get off somewhere and you have to walk from that stop. So that could be a starting point, public transportation. If you don't have that where you live, just walk. Just walk. The reason I'm emphasizing this is because I had a friend who did more walking than I did, actually, abroad. And he walked for transportation. He forced himself to, but he also did it for fun. He would just go for random walks at night for a few hours. And he lost so much weight, and he wanted to. That was his goal, and he was being healthy. Okay, so no worries there. But he made so much progress. It was extremely impressive. We were all extremely proud of him because sometimes we would want to take a taxi, and we'd be like, "Do you want to come? Do you want to split it?" And he's like, "No, I should walk home," and he did, and it was incredible. Obviously, he got rides and he rested, but he used being able to walk like that to his advantage. And it helped him so much in his journey to being healthier. It was really wonderful to see. Now, if safety is an issue for you, I've done this before, try taking public transportation somewhere or walking somewhere, and then if it gets dark, take an Uber or a Lyft or some kind of taxi, or call a friend to give you a ride home, or plan it out with your friend ahead of time. Whatever it is, just get some kind of walk in there. Find a way to insert the walk into your life. Bottom line, do not make excuses. It's raining, wear boots, get an umbrella. It's windy, wear a wind-resistant jacket. And trust me, you don't know what windy is till you've experienced winter in the mountains. Oh, God. Is it snowing? Well, just work out at home, I guess. If you're not going to play in the snow, yeah, just work out at home. Don't use it as an excuse to do nothing unless it's your rest day. No excuses. Don't be a spoiled Westerner. I've already gotten back into a few of those lazy habits since coming back, and I want to break them because I hate it. Let's do it together. Let's break those lazy, spoiled Western habits. And I say that as a spoiled Westerner because we can logically know that we have certain technological and certain social privileges in the US, and then we can experience the difference in another country, and we can see how advanced they are and enjoy our time there and learn a lot, and we can very much appreciate the differences and obviously appreciate the good there, but also appreciate the good here. So appreciate what you have here, but also don't let it hinder you. Everything was invented to make our lives easier, but don't let it affect your health negatively, please. Be careful. Pay attention to that. Walk everywhere you can. Include fitness into your daily life, not just into your workout routine. It may also encourage your strength and encourage you to work out more because you'll feel more capable. You'll slowly gain that strength and that confidence in yourself. With that, thank you all for listening to the GSMC Fitness Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I'd like to ask that you please remember to subscribe to the show and write us a nice review. Really helps us out. Also, if you could please follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Really appreciate that. And you can stay up to date on different health tips, and I update you guys on my fitness journey. Thank you guys so much. Have a good night.
You've been listening to the GSMC Fitness Podcast, part of the GSMC Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcasts on Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, Google Play, and any app where you listen to podcasts. Just type in GSMC to find all of the shows from the GSMC Podcast Network. From movies to music, from sports to entertainment, from business news to weird news, we cover it all. You can also follow us on Twitter and Facebook and listen to these podcasts on YouTube. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's podcast.